Well, Hypno hasn't gone either, so it's not.
No, nobody's gone. There we go. Dale's gone. He's off.
Do we have a delay on our side?
There we go.
Maybe we do.
All right. Well, as I said, you got some amazing runners in here. Obviously, Chris, LBC, and Dale, particularly legends of this game. Other people, we've got Saboom in this race as well, so we'll keep you updated on how he's doing. And a lot of people you'll remember from last year's SPRASH League. Zachary Lawrence, Spudley Man, people who took part in a lot of the races, New Jar as well. So yeah, we'll see them coming through. We'll keep you updated on how everyone is doing. There we go. Everyone's currently enjoying Nestor.
Yeah. Nobody doing Nestor Skip here. Nestor Skip recently discovered, not the easiest thing in the world. Definitely still searching for the consistency there. I think maybe the best players at it are maybe about 20% consistent, but it does save about 16-ish seconds in 120. But didn't seem like nobody. It seemed like nobody got it there. So we're all going to be on a level playing field.
It's funny because it's like the first trick you learn doing SRT is Nestor Skip. That's been around in SRT Spyro 1 for the longest time. So Dale was first in the Sunny Flight. This is the first of a number of flight levels in the game.
And definitely the most based of the flight levels. I'm very sad that this level is not in any percent, that this is the one flight level we don't do in any percent, because I have spent too much time in this level. I'll just say that rather than put my estimated number into it so I don't get made fun of in chat.
Right, how is Hypnoshark doing? It's pretty decent. Oh, he's got a little bit of trouble with that plane, just going a little bit too slow. But other than that, decent-ish cleanup. Dale, Blunt, and Chris already working their way around through the arches. As you say, it's a fairly simple flight level as well. You just work your way around, clean up the planes, and then go in and finish off the chests.
Alright, Frost said they want content to make fun of, so I'm gonna say that I'm guessing I've spent about 600 hours doing ILs of this level.
Depressed. I think it's I think every speedrunner should have the run count at the top of their splits, like Hypno and indeed Chris does. Look at Chris's splits. 19,120% runs.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's honestly believable. Entirely believable.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And this is a pioneer.
And he's been around for a long time. I've only been running this game for about almost 2.5 years now. So I've not been around too long compared to Chris and Deo for sure. Blunt has not been around for super long either.
No, for sure. Deo's story is pretty well known as well. You know, Deo was around for a long time, but wasn't the runner in Spyro 1 until the last couple of years.
And it shows really maybe some people are faster to get to certain levels, but like also maybe it does take you longer to get to a certain level, but then once you do get there, you don't have the quite the same ceiling that some other people might have. You know, you might have a higher ceiling. Everybody has different strengths in speedrunning and learning it, so
yeah, definitely. I think that's one of the things about this event and how accessible this game is in particular, that speedrunning is such a satisfying activity because you can really see the benefit of the work that you do. You see Deo there doing a trick that you're not going to see Hypnoshark do, and Blunt doing it as well just now, getting into that underground section with an outbounds.
And it does drastically, it drastically changes the route for this level, but it actually only saves about 3 seconds overall. So if you are just like, you know, kind of, I say if you're world record level, like you could, you know, 3 seconds in this category is not a lot. Like if for some reason you just really hated that trick, like you could very easily get world record, you know, if you were good enough to do so without doing that trick. So it's like there's a lot of things like that where it's like it's super flashy, it changes a lot, but it actually doesn't save that much time.
So you saw Hypnoshark go into that area pretty much as soon as it became available. As he went past it, whereas the others all came back to it towards the end.
Yeah, really what's going to be the real difference maker here is not tricks, it's not different routes, it's just plain good old-fashioned movement and super clean movement and not making mistakes. And that's part of the reason I really do love this game.
Yeah, Spyro is a heavily Spyro 1 in particular is a heavily movement-based speedrun, and which makes it very easy to learn but very difficult to master.
Yeah, let's maybe talk about like some of the mechanics that some people may or may not be familiar with here. Um, I'd say like the major mechanic I think of when I think speedrunning Spyro is flame charging.
Yeah.
Um, so what flame charging is going to be is basically getting a gem to auto home in with a flame, which is not normal. Usually you flame an enemy and the gem just kind of pops up. And there's actually a few frames for a while that you can't actually collect the gem after it pops up. So that's additionally slow compared to it not homing. Um, Whereas you'll see people do this on chests and enemies. If you actually get the right spacing and timing and speed, if you flame while charging at an enemy with all of that correct, you can actually get the homing animation and speediness of that homing animation with a flame, which is a huge time saver over the course of the run, just doing that everywhere.
Yeah, the Sparks gem homing is a really important mechanic in this game, but also particularly in the speedrun. If he doesn't home in on something and leave something behind, that can be a huge problem. And hopefully
Yeah,
we won't
and
see any of that today.
in Spyro 1, it's a much stricter a much stricter sparks range compared to 2 and 3. Especially in 2 and 3, since there's bonuses that you get at some point during the run that extends Sparks' range even further compared to what it already is, which is already longer than Spyro 1 in the first place. So you do have to get pretty close to gems here, so that does definitely like change how you would play this game compared to like if it had like Spyro 2 or 3 gem homing range for sure.
Yeah, and it puts even more emphasis on the movement that we were talking about as a hugely important factor. Is, you know, if you're a couple of millimeters off to the wrong side, Sparks is just going to pretend that gem doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to have to go back for it.
Yeah, and you're especially not going to want to outright miss a gem, which I doubt we see from any of these runners, but it could happen. Where
Yeah,
just like
if it,
because there is no Sparks Finder in Spyro 1. If you miss a gem, you just gotta go look for it, which I'm just gonna say based. I'm just gonna say it's based, and I'll let chat argue with that.
well, you saw Deo was the first one out of Stonehill, and he's probably going to be the first one into Town Square as well. The world record holder already setting the pace, which is what you would expect. Certainly, I'm pretty sure Dale cleaned up in the Spyro 1 race last year as well. He's going to get that bread.
Yeah, definitely the favorite for sure, despite maybe not running a super lot of Spyro 120 lately. Like I said kind of earlier, he's been focusing on 2 and 3 lately, but it's not like he hasn't been playing Spyro 1, and he's just like just better than everyone in this category at the moment, you know. Saboom is in this race, not on screen, and I would say that is probably his best competition here for sure. But you know, this is also a long category. Things can happen, and like it's not like these runners are like just like completely out of it by any means. Like it is definitely anyone's race.
This is why we love the SPRASH League. Everybody's streaming. We can see hundreds of people currently watching Spyro 1 streams. There's what? Something like 40 people streaming Spyro the Dragon right now.
Yeah, that's that's crazy. Like that's really great to see. Like as the Spyro 1 stan that I am, like just pretty much exclusively running Spyro 1 seriously as a speed game and nothing else really. Like that makes me happy to see that so many people wanted to join this.
It puts a spotlight on these great games, and that's another big part of doing the SPRASH League, right? Is to bring this community together and really show the strength of this community, the love that people have for these games, both Spyro and Crash, and how fun they are to play.
For sure, and watch too. Like I very much like watching all 6 of the games that we're gonna be seeing here.
Just watching Saboom pull off the toasty wall glide. So His
So
timer
is
is a
Saboom
little
maybe
bit.
slightly ahead?
Well, his timer is slightly further along than Dale's as well.
Oh, did Saboom actually start on time compared to
He might
everyone
have done.
else?
So a 9:55 touching down in Toasty for
Okay,
Saboom.
okay, so it sounds like Saboom is
About 10
maybe,
seconds.
but here's, I think on race time, I think is how it's gonna work is just whenever you split when you're done. So like maybe these runners are just kind of, I don't know how Hypno's gonna do it. I'm not gonna comment, I guess. So we'll see. Maybe we can get word on that at some point.
Yeah, well, we see Dale plowing through these dogs. Now, again, we talked about playing this as a kid. The first real screw you enemies of the game. These
Yes,
dogs and Toasty.
I do want to mention the dogs because they're very interesting enemies. You saw Deo there kind of like go off to the edge, and then when he turned around, that dog was no longer there. He actually got the dog to jump off the edge because that's important here because the dogs take 2 hits, which is very interesting that they have an enemy that takes 2 hits so early in the game and then not so much later. But it saves a lot of time. You can also do a dog disappear trick, which you jump and then flame charge right at the peak of the dog's jump, and the dog just simply passes away, and you collect the gem there. So there are definitely some very interesting aspects with these dogs compared to what initially might meet the eye or what you might see in a casual run.
And just as we say that, I see Hypno having a little bit of trouble with one of those dogs. We'll see if he can get the trick here. He's pretty consistent at it from what I've seen recently. And there you go, yep. No issue for him as well. Meanwhile, while we were talking about it, Dale just in and out of Toasty in what felt like 10 seconds.
Yeah, Toasty is a very cool and unique level. Honestly, Toasty was maybe my favorite level in 120, interestingly enough, despite it not being in any percent, just because it is so unique with like the dog interactions and all of that. It's very fun.
In SRT, or at least when I ran in SRT 100%, you did the level just to the first dragon and then quit.
Yeah.
But yeah, an 11:31 into Peacekeepers for Dale. That's a pretty solid pace.
Yeah. I would guess
We'll be
that
happy with
difference in
12.
SRT is maybe due to actually the timing difference of being loadless timing in SRT. The load screens in and out of the level doesn't affect you as much there.
I always like to comment, particularly when we get to I think it's Crystal Flight is the flight level that has basically the exact same route in OG and SRT.
Yeah, interesting.
There's really only one way to quickly get round all of those obstacles. But we see another flight level here for Dale. It's Night Flight.
Spinners in chat.
It's a fun one. Make sure you don't fall in the water. Again, things I did as a kid. Some of these obstacles are very low down.
And Dale, interestingly enough, has never really been one to push flight levels too much. He's just like looking to get in and out, and you know, maybe he'll take like a 1 to 2 second time loss compared to like if you really pushed it, but he's just not gonna make a mistake. And I think that's a valid strategy. It's not one that I like to do because I'm the flight level stan of the Spyro community, but like, you know, I pay for it sometimes, you know.
Do you run ILs?
Yes, I was mentioning Sunny Flight earlier, and it would be kind of sad if I didn't spending that much time, but I do have world record in Sunny Flight at least. So.
But yeah, no, I think that's totally fair. What you're saying about Dale's strat is, I just say it's a you know, we've got a lot of time left in this race, a lot of time left in this game. The last thing you want to do is make a mistake in the flight level in Peacekeepers. Whereas if you take a 2 or 3 second time loss, you can make that up. Oh, I'm just watching Saboom nearly die going over to the area with the chest in Peacekeepers, down to green sparks after bonking twice on that ledge.
Yeah, that ledge is very, very finicky. If I know the one that you're talking about, he actually did probably quite a good job to not die, because that ledge is very very specific kind of on where you have to jump up. So it's good that he found that, and even had sparks to spare.
Well, into Dry Canyon. Again, this is another fun level. It's got. We were just talking about this before we went live, or the dragon that you got to get around. Do the blind glide for in Dry Canyon.
I don't know what's worse, like being a casual and having to figure out that blind glide, or being an any percent runner and having to just do dry canyon jump, which is a way to get to that dragon where you don't do that blind glide and make a very tight glide, and it's a very heavy reset point. But
Dale
120, they
down
will
the
not have to
stairs.
do that because they have to go the casual way to get the gems anyway. So
Is he again a good example of Dale maybe being a little bit conservative there with those stairs? Not trying to do any kind of fast speedrunning tech, but taking it kind of slow. Did bonk on it, but just trying to get through things really. And that is the luxury of being a runner as talented as Dale. Is if he just doesn't mess up in this race, he should win.
Mhm. It's also like different play styles like still can succeed in this game for sure. We haven't it is an optimized game, but it's not like it's you have to play 100% balls to the wall, no mistakes at the same time. Like if you play like maybe a little bit conservatively, but just have a very clean run, you know, that can be good enough for world records still. You have to have very good movement, but it is definitely like different play styles, and you see that with different runners. I definitely tend to lean towards the conservative play style myself.
Yeah, Hypnoshark's another one I would say is a very consistent runner,
Hmm.
with maybe a little tinge of conservatism in there.
Yeah,
And very consistent, very good mindset. I've always thought Hypnoshark, very strong mental game, which definitely plays a big part in speedrunning, especially when you're, dedicating the kind of time that he does to it every day.
absolutely. Oh, I could
He
talk
really
about that
doesn't
for
ever
hours.
tilt. Yeah, no, I was always the same. I could do maybe 2 runs back to back
Mhm.
and like take maybe 3 hours, but after that I was very done with the game. Where Sam can go for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, that's different with everyone, and like just mental approach to speedrunning in general, like regardless of time, is different for everyone. You know, I've talked about this before. Like a lot of times when people are having a rough time, I see people like recommend, oh, you should just do some no resets. And you know, maybe that is valid for some people. For me,
Yeah.
doing like bad run and finishing a bad run is just worse than just like resetting in hopes of, you know, getting a good run. Like so it is
Totally. I
different
can
for
definitely
everyone.
see
Like
that.
you have to find that for yourself in speedrunning, and that is a
Yeah.
huge part of getting good in speedrunning for sure.
I do think that is interesting though, because thinking about how Hypno does his runs, most of his non-CTR runs are resetless
Hmm.
because he'll do them at the end of the stream when he's only got time for a couple of runs or
Yep.
1 run even. So he does get a lot of practice going resetless in games like Spyro 1.
Yeah, and Spyro 1 is I would say, I mean maybe I'm biased here, but I'd say it's a good game to just like be able to chill out, and you know, like even if it's a bad run, you'll still enjoy yourself for sure. Because it is a good game, and it is just, you know, a very comfy game, very uh you can kind of there's plenty of like load screens to like kind of chat with your Twitch chat and stuff like that if the main focus doesn't need to be the run. So it is a good no reset game if that is your jam.
So the jumps we just saw Dale do over to the firework, that's I believe another tech that was imported from SRT. Because that's certainly
Imported from SRT. Did SRT come first?
no. I think that trick might have been in SRT before it was really used in OG.
What I don't know. I guess to me I wouldn't know that because I started running the game after SRT was already long since released. So that would be
I
interesting
was
to
running
me if that
SRT
was the case.
about 2 years ago, and that was definitely in it. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't in OG because I remember talking to people about it at the time, and it wasn't. Or maybe I'm totally wrong. Someone in chat might tell me.
I'm the one who's supposed to be knowing this. They brought me in for the knowledge, but you know, I guess I'm giving some skepticism to that, but saying I could be wrong also.
Healthy skepticism is always welcome.
Yeah.
I just popped out chat and then chat disappeared. That didn't work.
Oops.
I'm trying to keep an eye on chat and see how you're doing. You know, if you've got things you want to You want to ask? You want to say? Well, it's fine. We'll answer your question, or Ash will answer your questions. It is me. I see people asking. Frosty, it is me.
Yeah, it took Hypno a couple tries there to hit the firework.
Yeah,
it can be finicky.
Is really finicky. It seems to make no sense when it doesn't go.
In my experience, you actually want to be a little bit distanced from it. You want that flame to be able to kind of like cone out and maybe curl upwards a little bit. If you look at Spyro's flame, it does actually curl upwards. And the hitbox actually does as well, so it can actually be beneficial to give yourself some distance. When you're like right next to it, you can get it, but it's a lot more finicky.
Yeah, definitely. It's also because it's not expected behavior, right, to come from underneath like that, so you need to kind of work the angle a little bit. But it's definitely one you can sit at and be trying half a dozen times going, why isn't it working?
And I think we've actually seen Chris take the lead here.
Yeah, well, he's first into Shemp, and we also saw Dale take a little bit of damage there, so he's going into Shemp with green sparks, as is Chris actually. So
Shemp is such a pretty level as far as movement goes. I really truly love this level, both in 120 and any percent. It's very fun with these like charging enemies and kind of how you navigate that along with the big mamas that you need to flame.
It's always really satisfying in a speedrun to manipulate movement like that. And yeah, that's what you're trying to do with these charging enemies, is get them to go in the most efficient way possible, and also for some of them to just jump off.
I think that's a lot of what appeals to me in a speed game, is something that just feels like it flows. If something feels like it flows and you can kind of like get in a state while playing it, that definitely feels good to me for sure. Which you need to be very good at 120 for it to feel that way.
Definitely. Need to be as good as some of the runners on our screen. But you too could be as good as Hypnoshark.
Yeah, I guess I will do my little shill of, if anyone's like watching this and being like, oh, I could never be that good, I could never be a speedrunner. Like, if you like have any inkling to try speedrunning, you should, because I spent 5 years of my life thinking that. And funny story, I actually started speedrunning because I saw Deo be bad at Vortex. Deo, obviously one of the best Spyro runners when I was watching him, but not an experienced Vortex player, which is the trick category of this game. Then seeing him just not be able to do the tricks, like obviously because he hadn't practiced them, it was like, oh, you know, maybe speedrunning actually just takes practice, and that was the push that I needed to start speedrunning.
Yeah, speedrunning is a huge amount of fun. I have a friend of mine, shout out Lorinda. He's a professional Hearthstone esports commentator, but he got really into the game Stray when it came out. And he's, you know, Neil's in his 40s. I'd never speedrun a game before, but he got really into speedrunning Stray, and actually like discovered some tricks in the game and got to know like the high level runners, was a decent level runner himself, and just had such a good time. For the, you know, like a lot of games, it was relevant for a few months when it came out, and then it kind of died off. But he had such a good time, and it was so wholesome to see a guy just pick up speedrunning like that. So it really, there is no barrier to entry.
Yeah, especially with, like I was talking about earlier with Spyro 1, it's very easy and there's multiple ways to speedrun it. You can get super technical with it, learn every little bit, or you can just like play casually and like kind of like make up your own routes and like play the game over and over again and kind of like try to learn how you might want to try to go faster in that way. Like, I've had a lot of fun playing Spyro 3 117% in that way, and kind of just like not really learning the technical aspects, but just like giving myself a casual Spyro experience when trying to go faster. So there's multiple ways to speedrun.
Chris had some absolutely insane bonks there trying to kill one of those armored minions in Icy Cavern.
Yeah.
And again, that's another trick you'll see them do, is that glide over to get this last section of the room from the other side. You'll probably not see Hypnoshark do that. It's a tough glide to make. another one that's in SRT. I'm realizing how much of SRT is transferable skills for speedrunning OG.
It's completely different movement, but there's definitely some things that still work that are very similar. So yeah, it is definitely we haven't seen a ton of people get good at both SRT and OG, but we were just talking about Toasted Cat before the stream. He's definitely probably the main example of being world record holder in SRT and also extremely high level in OG. I know Chris ran SRT when it first came out and wouldn't probably be considered high level now in SRT, but I believe he did get some world records when the game first came out, so maybe another example there of being quite good at SRT and extremely high level at OG.
Yeah, it is amazing to me that, you know, Hypnoshark in particular, people who can be high level at multiple games.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously Sam is very high level. He is the high level at CTR. He's also kind of the high level at CNK and all the other Crash Racing games, but I don't think we talk about enough how gangster it is for him to put up his own money for a speedrunning event and not include probably any of his top 3 speed games in terms of what he's good at. But he runs all 6 of these games to a pretty competent level.
Yes, it's very impressive to me, especially as somebody with bad memory. Like like if I tried to do a 120 run right now, despite the routes being quite simple in 120, I would not remember all of them. Like, and I like this is the only game that I play seriously. You know, like keeping that many routes and everything in your mind is like highly impressive to me.
Yeah, the one that always gets me with Sam is when he runs multi-crash runs or multi-Spyro runs, because particularly in Crash, there are hugely different movement mechanics, but it kind of almost just like slight tweaks on what you were doing before, even if they are dramatically different. And it's the same with Spyro. Is there are differences between Spyro 1, Spyro 2, and Spyro 3, and just to keep all those straight in your head while remembering the routes.
And I may have missed what happened, but I looked almost near the end of Ice Cavern, and Chris was still a solid 10+ seconds ahead of Deo, but then when they were leaving for Magic Crafters, Deo is actually a little ahead now, so I'm not quite sure what happened, but Deo has taken back a very small lead over Chris.
We're seeing already a back and forth between those two very high-level runners. And meanwhile, Saboom already well into this world, so yeah, we'll see how that timing works out. As we get towards the end, we'll see who's going to end up coming out on top. But at the moment, it's looking like Deo and Chris are locked in a race to the finish, which we love to see. So we're in Alpine Ridge now, which these levels do start to get a little bit higher, a little bit harder. Now you're in this this third world. There's a lot of cycles in this level that you really need to try and hit.
Speaking of, Chris just barely didn't make that first cycle at the beginning of Alpine there, and that he did save it with a roll bounce, but that definitely costs some time in terms of cycles for sure.
You see Deo going up to this other area now, and there's a stair cycle at the end of this that he's going to try and get as close to as possible, try and lose as little time as he can.
Let's see if Blunt makes the cycle, and he does.
Very nice. And there's Dale, with the stairs. This whole level is basically on a timer for it to work the way you want it to, and you have to hit everything basically right on time. See Dale just narrowly getting over that wall as it dipped just at the right second to let him through. Is a good example.
It's very interesting because some of it seems to be like level cycles that start once you enter the level, and some of it is affected by camera and when you enter certain parts of the level, which is I guess just typical of Spyro 1. Like the cycles just sometimes are one way and sometimes are another way. It's very interesting that it's not all the same, but that is how it works. Camera can definitely affect enemies, and definitely enemies are the big one, with even enemies that might be on the other side of the map. Like one example I can kind of think of is in Town Square. like exactly how you move at the beginning actually affects where some of the enemies are placed later, even if you do the whole rest of the level the same. So there are definitely some intricacies to running this game for sure.
Alright, Dale going on cleanup, heading over for this thief and out of bounds here. Get the quick hit. Very nice.
Mhm.
Now we'll clean up the gems along the route that he is supposed to be chasing the thief along, but obviously isn't.
Looks like Chris is having actually a slight, or oh no, I think Chris is going to have a little bit more to clean up at the end, I believe. There is a slight difference in the route change that you can do. Here you'll see Deo probably end on claiming this last firework gem, whereas Chris is going to have to jump down and get this enemy and so even though it looked like Chris was slightly ahead there, he was actually still slightly behind, but it's very, very close. And Blunt not too far behind either, maybe, 30-ish seconds, so Blunt is absolutely still in this as well.
Definitely. We're always happy to see a respectable looking time from Sam. He's getting the cleanup here. Does get on top of that wall.
Deo doing a very cool supercharge here, just cleaned up everything that he left behind in the homeworld there, and yeah, that one's smooth. I'm interested to see whether Chris goes for the same, I believe. Or he already did it. I'm sorry. I looked away from Chris for a second, so he probably... Yeah, I'm assuming he did it because... Oh, wow, they are just, like, tied to the frame right now, pretty much. Wow.
Meanwhile, Blunt took a death in Alpine there, unfortunately.
Oh, no. Did he bonk on the last firework incorrectly? Is that what happened?
I didn't quite see it. I just saw the respawn. I was looking at Dale and Chris, but yeah, they are really close together right now in Wizard Peak. In High Cave, sorry. Speaking of cycles, you got to get these floating platforms done in the right
chat
way.
has confirmed that it was that. Oh, fully pausing there. I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure why he fully paused there, or if he got maybe he got like an unexpected kind of like pivot turnaround compared to Spyro 2 and 3, where you want to be pivoting quite often and pivoting is fast. If you pivot in Spyro 1, there's kind of like a swivel around like animation that is very slow. So pretty much everything you want to do in Spyro 1 is going to be like tiny jump charges or less extreme pivots where you don't get that animation.
So both Chris and Dale do another little supercharged strat where you use all of the off-ramp from the level to kind of cheese the supercharge and get over to those fireworks chests. It's always a nice bit of tech to see. Probably see Blunt go for it pretty soon here. So he sets up on the edge. Doesn't go anywhere near the actual supercharge ramp, but gets it.
Chris seems to have lost his supercharge. Unless that's... You can just kind of cut it off there, but I'm not sure if that was intentional or not.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Deo also not getting the full bite cave, so unless we see Blunt get it, then I guess we're not going to see it. Bite caves is a very extended supercharge.
We might see it from Hypnoshark, because that's something that.
Oh, does he go for full bite caves?
He does, yeah. It's something that's been causing him quite a bit of trouble in his practice runs, but in recent days he has got it
going for it now
a good few times. Yeah, this didn't here, holding on to the supercharge.
Oh no, he's also just gonna cut it off. So Blunt doesn't go for the whole one either. That was definitely an intentional cutoff. Bite caves is something that used to be in any percent, kind of like as I was starting or like just before my time, and then it was kind of routed out because it was just like right on the edge of being good or not, and it's just very, very difficult. So it was like
what is Dale
determined to not be.
What happened there?
I missed it, but
all I saw was him gliding and dying. Also,
gliding and dying.
Sam had to take another go at these platforms.
Yeah, it looks like Chris is very far ahead now compared to Deo. I've missed what's occurred, but Chris is a good 30 seconds in front of Deo now.
Yeah, this has not been a good high caves for Deo. Yeah, apologies, chat. Maybe I'm slightly confused on the particular high caves tech that we're talking about. But certainly holding onto that supercharge has been a problem for Hypnoshark. to get through all those spiders. Hopefully we'll see him pull off in this run. This is an interesting route as well here on Wizard Peak for Chris. All the way around the outside first.
Yep, that is the high level Wizard Peak route, because you can basically do a proxy, and even if you do not get the proxy, that you'll see it in a bit. If you do not get the proxy, there is a backup with the supercharge that you can do. So it's kind of near this first dragon that we're gonna get to. So we'll see if he gets Wizard proxy.
He'll bonked in supercharge and missed the Spyro
about to
exit
go for it
fairy,
just
so I can
now.
get it.
Does not get Wizard proxy, so he's gonna have to do the backup. You see him go to the supercharge here, get a turnaround, and get a little launch off this ramp, which actually is not the easiest thing in the world either, but he does get it there. So we'll see if Deo can make up some time by getting Wizard proxy.
Yeah, again, that that supercharge to get onto that platform is another thing that has given Hypnoshark some trouble, but I have seen him hit it, so he'll be hoping to bring that together in this run.
It's definitely a bit easier than Wizard proxy. Oh, Deo about to go for it. Let's see. He does not get it either, so he will not be saving any time there. Blunt has actually caught up to Deo too, by the looks of it. He does not get a chance to go for Wizard proxy because he got shocked there. So nobody hitting it there. Deo going for the supercharge. Oh, that was close, but he just got it. Blunt also got it. Yeah, Blunt is basically neck and neck with Deo.
Yes.
At this point, behind because he hasn't gotten the dragon yet, but yeah, Blunt and Deo are now closer as Chris has taken a fairly not commanding lead, but like it's a solid lead.
Yeah, we've seen all three of the runners that aren't named Hypnoshark be in the lead here so far.
And yeah, Laura brings up that Chris is known for his consistency, which, oop, sorry, bumped my mic. I hope that wasn't so loud.
You're good.
So consistency, like races, and just like being good at races and being good at like getting the top time on the leaderboard go hand in hand, but they are not the same skill. They are not the same skill at all. Because is Chris's feed frozen? Oh. There we go. We're back. Okay.
Good. I was really worried Chris was going to crash there.
That would have been unfortunate, right as we were talking about him. But yeah, Chris is a very consistent runner, and consistency is a very, very valuable tool to have in races. Very valuable.
And that's the thing about Hypnoshark as well. Is we talked about I talked about all those reset lists. Is that's the skill for races, because. Yeah, as you say, you can reset as many times as you want to get that top time when you're streaming, when you're just trying to get better times. But in a race, you've got to put it all together. And that's why we've seen Dale be a little bit more conservative, because he's just trying to get a good time. He's not really trying to set the world record right now, which it'd be very cool if he did. We did an SRT 337 race back in the day, and we had the world first sub 3 hour SRT 117
That's very
in
cool.
the race, which was pretty incredible. That was my boy Insert Logic. Shout out to him, another incredible runner of a ton of different games.
I see people mentioning both Deo and Chris's splits, and as far as I know, neither of them are running against PB. So keep that in mind. The golds that you see are likely fake. They could be real, but they're likely fake. Or time save specifically are not versus PB. So keep that in mind.
It's all going to be about who finishes first. And on that note, where's Saboom? Well, Saboom is about to enter Blowhard.
So Saboom is actually in the lead by the sounds of it.
Yeah, and it looks
right
like
along
Saboom
with
started
Chris.
his timer like 30 seconds before Chris did, but yeah, potentially potentially Saboom is in the
Chris
lead.
misses a red gem there. That's about a 3-4 second mistake. There's some time for Deo to make up for sure. Yeah, I'm very interested what the exact rules are, because it did seem like everyone who was on the stream just straight up didn't start when they were supposed to, at least compared to like what I thought.
Yeah,
Because the timer reached 0 and they all just like sat there for 20 more seconds. So I'm very curious on
Yeah, Derek, if you could confirm how we're actually going to determine a winner, that would help.
yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Shout out Derek.
Yeah.
Behind
Yeah,
the scenes
it's me.
extraordinaire.
Yeah, so basically, the race.gg, it started a countdown from 1 minute, and Saboom was the only one who actually started correctly. Everyone else was actually.
Why did no one start on 0? I'm very confused. Is it because maybe it was our fault? Maybe it's because we didn't acknowledge that the race was about to start. We were just blabbing on.
I have no idea, but for the 4 stream, a lot of people actually started on time, but for the 4 on stream, they were actually like a little off. I will retime that. We'll see exactly, so it won't penalize them. But yeah, the 4 on stream are actually like a bit off because of that. But Saboom was actually like on point.
So
now that we've established that, veteran sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say, now that we've established that, does everyone who started late, they just have to start with a 20-second penalty, and that's how it is, or are we gonna go by how long?
We'll go by how long the run is. I'll calculate it because it's not that big of a deal. It's just funny to see that Saboom, the longtime racer, actually was on point. Everyone else was off.
I think he should win. I think he should get to win for that.
Yeah. I agree.
As the commentators, what do we do, Frosty? Nothing. Someone ban Frosty.
I'll consider it. All right, I'll be back. See you
later.
Shout out Derek, behind the scenes, putting a lot of this together.
Yeah, Derek's a homie. Derek's one of my first friends in the community. Going back to the old Friday night racing hosted by Derek Lander. For those that probably don't remember that, but that was some of my first interactions with the community. So Derek's cool and a homie.
Looking at the time, it looks like Chris is Laura helping us out, of course, another world record holder in this game. A 40:29 Magic Crafters for Chris and a 41:02 for Dale. So Chris has a kind of a chunky lead.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of levels you hate as a child, these shocking platforms in Peacemakers and in Terrace Village, hate them.
Yeah, I would say like the difficulty starts ramping up for sure in Magic Crafters, but enemy-wise specifically, the Beastmakers ones are quite annoying to deal with, and it gets even worse in Dreamweavers for sure.
Laura, I don't know what you're saying. You should be script writing. You should be speed running. But you turned up like 30 seconds late, so you're just here to help us out in chat, which we much appreciate.
I'm sure it was completely on accident that she turned up 30 seconds late for a 120 race. I'm sure that.
I mean, ironically, for people who deal with time all of their lives, speedrunners are not always the most punctual.
Don't get me started. Most of the friends that I have in this community, if I wanted them to be somewhere at a specific time, I'd tell them about 45 minutes early.
Well, I would say Hypnoshark's one you can rely on to be there on time, thankfully.
Yeah.
You see,
I mean, who would have guessed the guy that shows up in streams every single day for
the exact
for
to the
6
second
hours? Yeah, for 6 hours is usually one that you can rely on.
He's never not gone live at 12:00:00 right on the dot as well.
I was unaware of that. That is funny.
He always turns up. He's always there live at 12 o'clock. The message always goes in his Discord at 11:50 that he's live in 10 minutes. Like, always goes live at 12. Consistency. We talked about consistency.
Dude, I am very asleep during that time, so I'm unaware of his exact starting habits. I'd show up, a couple hours into stream at the earliest.
I mean, I would say Hypnoshark was really my big route into speedrunning. I started watching him during COVID, working from home. He's streaming during the day. So I'd be watching Spyro streamers pretty much all my work day because the music's good and it's kind of chill for background.
Yeah.
I think Sam hit. I'm struggling to see because the text is small, but I think was that a PB Magic Crafters for Hypno?
I'm not sure. It looks
Like
like
a
the
gold?
it's maybe a gold. I think that might have been the balloonist split though. Maybe.
You take it.
I
You take
can't
it where
really
you can
see
get it.
very well because we're commentating off of Derek sharing the stream, like the direct stream, not like the Twitch stream.
Yeah, and I love you,
via
Derek, but it's about
Discord.
5 pixels.
Yeah, it's
So.
it's a struggle. It's a bit of a
We're
struggle.
making it work. We're making it work. Small gold for his Magic Crafters. Hell yeah. And that's the thing I love about speedrunning. We talked about speedrunning is like such a satisfying hobby to have. If
Yeah.
you do a terrible run, but you get 1 gold,
Oh, that's my favorite thing. That's my favorite thing to do once I like usually I just reset runs, but like if it's like fairly late already and I like make a mistake, then I just finish it. And my favorite thing to do is just start playing super aggressively and go for golds for the copium celebration.
yeah. Because at least you did one thing better than you've never done before. And that's it's all
Exactly.
about the continuous improvement.
Look, there's a reason I have the best Nasty Nork ever done. I'll just say that, and because I've done that so many times with Nasty Nork. Oh, Deo having a little trouble on that last chest. Luckily did not.
Ooh.
See, if he was more aggressive on that chest, that could have been a huge mistake because he could have gone into the water. But luckily, luckily he did not go in the water, and it was just a 5-second mistake rather than a minute-long mistake, which would have.
I was going to say, if he goes into the water, he has to
replay.
replay the entire flight level.
Yeah.
That'd be a big one. Well, that's Wild Flight out the way. We saw I saw an insane proxy when Sam was doing some practice runs the other day. One of those boars that you jump across the water and it charges at you. He kind of mounted it almost. It was
Yeah,
very nice.
yeah, you can kind of like ramp over them. It's not even really a proxy necessarily. It's just kind of a weird enemy interaction with the hitbox. It is very interesting that you can kind of like slide right over them if you charging jump in the right way. And speaking of boars, you might notice that like Deo, for example, did not actually get the gem from the boar outside of Misty Bog, and the reason for that is that when you leave Misty Bog, if that enemy is one that has not been collected, like that enemy will just despawn and the gem will be there. And how it works with when you're flying out with Spyro, that gem is actually directly in the way of picking it up, so you actually get that gem for free coming out.
Nice. Well, Misty Bog is one level where we're going to be able to compare, and it's a level that could definitely trip people up. It's
Misty
infamous
Bog.
for having the highest enemy density room in the game.
13 enemies.
People call it Guantanamo. People have lots of horrible names for it, but we'll see it on Dale and Chris's streams in not very long at all. I see Hypno trying to get a nice clean wild flight. And he does well. He's picking up these planes and these chests. Oh.
I thought Chris was gonna go off the edge there for a second, but there is room to stand there, I guess, on the other side of that.
Yeah, I'm having a little trouble with that spring chest.
I always want to call them lift something for some reason, and despite being in the community for years, it still just like comes out before spring chest. It's very funny. Oh! Chris looked a little shaky on that jump across, and luckily saved it with a very solid charge glide and good charge timing. It looked like he might have bonked there, and that is not a death that you want to have, because that death sent you a long way back. And speaking of that room we mentioned, Chris is rapidly approaching it.
Yeah. It's on this island over here. I mean, these 3 frogs are no joke either.
Mm.
Right at the front, but here it is. Oh god.
Oh, and he gets some bad RNG right off the rip. That's another thing that makes this room very difficult, is the RNG will be different every time. So you just have to quickly read it.
Yeah.
And Deo definitely picked up some time there for sure, like quite a bit of time actually.
Yeah, I think Dale's picked up a good bit of time in this level. As you say, Chris has looked a little bit unsure, I think is a good way to put it in this level. And certainly it's
Granted, I don't remember them starting. all that differently, but I think maybe because Chris's feed got paused for a couple seconds, the times are off between those two. They're like 10 seconds off on our feed, so that's interesting.
Oh, the plum gets thrown up in the air there by one of the enemies. So it does lose some time with that unintentional proxy. But still comes out with blue sparks, so he'll be pretty happy with that, I think. Oh.
A couple bonks there for Blunt trying to...
That's another thing with this game, right? Sometimes certain stairs will just get patched. and you'll end up bonking on something 2 or 3 times that you've never bonked on before in your life.
That's just how tight the like the movement is in this game at high level, that like we're charging onto some of those stairs like to the frame timing. And when your timing just gets a little fast or it gets disrupted, that's a big one, is when your timing gets disrupted, it often leads to multiple mistakes in a row because it's no longer in your muscle memory. It's no longer one smooth movement like it is in your muscle memory, and that is a big factor, is if you make a mistake in this game, being able to recover it fast and not make multiple mistakes is very important.
It's what makes it so tantalizing as a speedrun as well, because there's always just a little bit more you could have done.
Yes, it is impossible to 100% optimize this game. Like, you could play this game for the rest of your life and never do that. Like you can task this game and never do that. You know, you'll always be able to find another frame somewhere.
And you just, there was a point earlier on where we saw Chris, I think it was in the Peacekeeper's homeworld, bonk on just like walking around a pillar, but not walking quite far enough frames to the left of it, and bonks on an invisible wall, and you know, basically no one's been playing this game as long as Chris. 19,000 runs. And if he can still bonk, then anyone can bonk. Oh, I'm getting a report from chat that Adam the Dragon is putting in a pretty racy time as well. So we'll try.
Yeah, we haven't even mentioned Adam, which is definitely a fault of our own. Almost an hour in, considering I believe he has
the third best time, yeah.
Third place in 120. So he should 100% be on our radar along with Saboom as far as runners who are not currently on stream.
A 4009 Magic Crafters for Adam.
And I wonder if Adam hit Nestor Skip, because as far as I know, Adam is probably the best Nestor skipper in the community so far. It's a very recently discovered trick, but as far as I know, I think Adam might be the most consistent at it. So I wonder if he hit it.
Well, he's currently in Metalhead, so
yeah, he is definitely ahead of.
Adam's a good spot. I mean, I'm on my second 30-second Modern Warfare 3 ad since I turned on his stream. But apart from that,
he's definitely ahead of both.
I'm actually trying to check his VOD to see if he
started on the correct time.
Yeah, that, but also to see.
Deo getting Metalhead out of bounds. Let's see if Chris gets it. No, Chris does not even go for it. It is actually not too significant of a time save in 120. It's even at any percent, it's not huge of a time save unless you're really at world record level. But it definitely is we're gonna see different routes from Chris and Deo in this opening section, because Deo went for the out of bounds where Chris did not. It's only a couple second difference.
I don't think I can get at Adam's VOD, unfortunately, but I don't know if someone who was watching or someone who can tell us if he did the Nestor skip. That would be interesting to know if somebody did pull that off in this race. 3 tops here for Hypnoshark. We talked about that earlier as a level that, you know, gave us all trouble as kids, especially me. I think it's a level that made me give up. It's also probably the level that made me give up SRT running, because once you need to get a keyboard and mouse involved, I'm not really about it. Yeah, the keyboard and mouse strats for SRT are pretty intense, because you can turn so tight with a mouse. Again, it looks like Deo is just slightly ahead of Chris now, clearing that first phase of Metalhead.
I did notice as they were going into Metalhead that Deo had played Treetops about 10 seconds faster, and Well, at least 10 seconds faster because he is actually further into his run. So even though he's ahead on our screens, and but he is further into the time. So I
In our
guess
hearts.
let's see. So Deo's at the back of the room at 54:31. Let's see about Chris. And Chris is at the back of the room at 54:31. So I'd say they're about tied.
Nice. Yeah, exit level was like 54:48 for Deo. So we'll see if we can get a... That looked about 54:46 for Chris. So Chris might actually be about 2 seconds ahead now.
Very tight race, regardless. And as far as I know, we actually have. How is Saboom doing? We haven't checked in on Saboom in a while, but I'm guessing that both Saboom and Adam are actually ahead of everyone on screen still.
Saboom is he's in Dreamweavers, and Adam is just getting on the balloon to Dreamweavers.
Okay. Well, so yeah, interesting because Deo is also just getting on the balloon. So I'm. How far? What's the timer on Adam saying? Did Adam start at the correct time or?
I don't know, but on his splits, I think he was about 55:36, touching down in Dreamweavers here.
Okay, so
again,
Adam
potentially as much
started
as-
at the same time as Saboom, so.
So he's maybe as
did
much
he?
as...
I don't know. I don't want to do the math. Someone else figure it out. Laura, you figure it out.
I think Adam is...
It's
is
too
about-
confusing. This is why it would be simpler if even Hypno, this is his event and he didn't even start at the right time. What are you doing, Hypno?
Yeah, the Adam is maybe about 10 seconds ahead of Chris right now, and Saboom is even further ahead than that. Potentially.
I'll figure it out at the end. I don't want to think about it. I'm a good commentator.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is one of the hardest bits about doing these races, is trying to figure out where everybody is. But I'll try and get a mark on Saboom coming out of... I forget what this is like. Is this Wizard Peak? It's not Wizard Peak.
This
What
is
is
not
it?
Wizard Peak. This is
Supercharging one.
Haunted. This is Haunted
That's it.
Towers.
Haunted Towers. I forget. I mostly forget Dreamweavers because, again, one of the best bits of SRT 20% is you basically don't do Dreamweavers.
That's actually changed recently. I'm not sure if you've seen. You actually
No,
go into. I believe Haunted Towers and maybe Dark Passage. I'm not the most knowledgeable on SRT, but I know there is some Dreamweavers. There's some Dreamweavers action in SRT now. Not in OG any percent. OG any percent. We do the flight level. We do some of Jock, and then we get out of there.
Yeah, that's the MBS route that I remember.
Yep, it is different now actually.
Yeah, Twilight Harbor skip was probably my favorite part of running MBS. See Sam cleaning up Metalhead now. Oh, it does take a hit. Oh, I forgot to try to watch Saboom. He's nearly done with Haunted Towers. So we will see what time he enters the vortex here, and I'll try and get a time check with respect to everyone else.
Yeah, I know I've seen some Haunted Towers in SRT. I'm trying to remember if it was in BS or if it was in 120, but I think it was in BS, and you have to do a pretty tight glide, as far as I remember, to like get up to kind of like skip one of the metal metal walls, and then I think you do a pretty cool supercharge, as far as I remember, at least at high level. At least in PC, because that does matter, because supercharging, you can do better supercharging with a keyboard and mouse than you can on a controller.
All right, I'm watching Saboom finish up Haunted Towers as we see Dale getting in that direction as well. Again, Dale looks to be just a little bit ahead of Chris. Chris taking this a little bit slower, this cleanup route. So about 59.26 for Saboom out of Haunted Towers. See the time. Yeah, 59:35 down.
Now we have Deo's feed freezing for a little bit. So I think it is a our end issue, not the stream issue.
Yeah.
Of
Well, we can
capturing
tell
certain
from the
people's-
timers.
Deo's frozen for quite a long time for us. Deo, please. Oh,
It's
he
coming
moved
back,
like
it's coming
one
back.
frame. He moved to one frame. That's not great. Oh, there we go. Skip forward a little bit too. Man, this Discord quality is not great. I'm just gonna say
No.
that. Oh, Deo missed a gem somewhere. Deo has missed a gem somewhere and has to go look for it. This
Oh
could be huge.
no.
This could actually be huge. This is gonna
I mean,
make things real. Oh, it's right there.
Okay.
Okay,
found it.
that was very close to best case scenario in that level because he could have been really looking for a while in that level. It takes a second to get around for sure.
Yeah, that's really hurt him though, because that puts him. You can see behind Chris, but also behind Adam and Saboom.
hmm
So yeah, ironically, the top two currently not on stream. I
Oh.
don't think.
Deo has actually gotten the wall glide route, which is gonna really make things hard for us as commentators. I'm just gonna say that because now they're gonna be going in a completely different order in Dreamweavers. This is a very tough wall glide that only saves a couple seconds as far as routing goes, but it does cause you to do Dreamweavers in a very different order. And as far as I remember, you only will match back up going into Jock, I believe. Uh-oh. Has Blunt has also missed a gem, and that's a 2 gem. So, oh no,
No, it's just the
Blunt
last
was
one.
even
here.
Blunt was even quicker. So
Yeah.
interesting. That both players. That's interesting. 2 people missing a gem in Haunted Towers. Definitely one of the more common ones to miss a gem in. But it's interesting that even at high level, you see that gem collection is when you're really pushing it, not the easiest thing in the world.
So we're now seeing Dale in Icy Flight. Well before everyone else. So yeah, we'll try and catch up at the end of Dreamweavers, I guess, on where
Yeah, we're
Dale's
gonna-
pace is.
Yeah, it's gonna be very difficult to be able to tell until the start of Jock.
Man, it feels like every time I look at Chris, he's just maybe not. It feels definitely not as clean as Dale, but he's getting it done.
That's the interesting part about Spyro 1 is even if your movement is like maybe like noticeably not quite as quick, if you're just like consistent and not making mistakes, and you know you can stay right there with the best of them.
You saw Chris miss both of those 5-gem spring chests as well.
Mhm.
So I had to kind of reroute for that a little bit. Just the sort of cleanup of areas feels not as smooth as you'll see from Dale, I think.
Mhm. And that could also be partially due to Chris is probably not quite at his peak right now after having
No.
taken probably around a half-year break, and I think he just came back around a week ago or so. So
He's rusty.
Yeah.
And that is definitely a thing in speedrunning. The muscle memory is a big deal. The consistency is a big deal. Rust develops very quickly.
Yeah.
Kind of scary, lofty with green sparks. One of those arrows could come at Dale from nowhere. I think he's actually down to no sparks now.
You know, I am a fan. You know, as I was talking about earlier, I do relate. Sorry, do you see something?
No, just he's got blue sparks. Oh, there we go. He gets
gotcha.
the arrow proxy.
Yes, that is actually quite a simple one. You bonk against the wall there, and you get flopped up. You just need the correct timing. It's not too bad. But I was gonna mention that I really relate to Chris as a runner, probably more so than anyone, as someone that I've had to like at least emulate in terms of my gameplay. You know, especially, you know, we both got any % world record playing, you know, with this consistent play style. And it does show that there's more than one way to crack an egg in speedrunning.
Yeah, and it was something Laura was saying earlier actually as well, that Chris was one of the people that she always remembers seeing speedrunning Spyro way before she was into it.
For sure. Chris has been around for a long time.
Yeah, it's always fun to watch these pioneers, these senior gamers.
Senior gamers.
They can still get it done. They
It
don't
feels
have to be
funny
younger
saying that,
percentages.
considering I think Chris might be older than me, but I know I'm older than Deo, despite I've only been playing for 2 years. But you know, and Deo's been around for forever, so it always feels funny calling them veterans or senior gamers.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm 31, and I remember seeing a chart of like the ages of the players in the League of Legends LCS. And I think there's
yeah.
maybe one player in the any LCS who's older than me.
Yeah, especially in like
my
pro
peak
gaming,
esports days are behind me.
Yeah, retirement in pro gaming is like 27.
Yeah.
I had not started speedrunning when I was 27.
But that's like I said, like my friend Neil, he was in his 40s before he did his first ever speedrun, so it's never too late.
Yep, exactly.
We are heading towards the end of this race now. Potentially, 20 minutes or so for these top runners.
Yep, kind of having an interesting section here, but this is a very tough section. Okay, at least he caught that cycle. There we go. Yeah, that didn't lose too much time at all because he had to wait for those fairies anyway. So.
Oh, Adam got cannon glitch.
Oh no! That's so unfortunate. Cannon glitch is the Dreamweaver's homeworld cannon. You actually need to use it to small 2 enemies so that Spyro is able to kill them and collect their gems. And any percent we kind of just like flop over them, interestingly, because we don't need to collect every gem, but in 120 you do kind of have to get their gems, so you have to go small them. And cannon glitch is basically it simply does not work. It simply does not lock onto them. And we're still looking for the exact reasoning, and it's actually interesting that we're mentioning it right now, because I know John Unfill is, shout out John, I don't think he's racing today, but probably the best emulator player of this game. As well as Composer and Oddcar are respective coding and like practice code masters of this game. Composer also both being very good runners themselves as well, with Composer being the Vortex world record holder. But I know those 3 are kind of trying to pin down exactly what causes cannon glitch, because we still don't know. We still do not understand exactly what causes cannon glitch.
Yeah, it's great when sometimes your game just gets patched for no obvious reason. Yep. You just can't do it. You gotta take a death and work your way back around. It's a real nightmare.
It's something that's probably not RNG, but we don't understand it, so it is. You know, like.
Yeah, it's random until explained otherwise.
Yes.
That's how science works, right?
This game does not have much RNG at all. Well, I mean, it depends how you define it. It has a lot of RNG. Every single time you like pop out a gem or things of that nature, the gem actually pops out slightly differently and things like that. But it's slight RNG. It's RNG that you can adjust to. It's not RNG that just outright loses you time, usually. But cannon glitch kind of feels like it is right now because we don't understand it, which is unfortunate because I believe it loses probably around 20 seconds.
How's Hypnoshark doing? Hypnoshark is doing fine.
Yep, Hypnoshark exists.
Considering this is maybe in his top 10 best games, it probably is at this point. But yeah, like I say, I do think it is hilarious that Hypnoshark created this event, streams it on his channel to his audience, and doesn't put in the games that he can show off the best in. That tells you a lot about how humble a guy he is. Because he could just put CTR in this and just stunt on people.
How many people would join a CTR race where the prize only went to the winner? I don't know if anyone would bother.
It'd just be Sam giving himself his own money.
It is crazy how dominant he is in that game.
Yeah, and it's another thing like the drive, right?
In such a popular game too. It's not like this is a game with 20 runners or whatever. This is a very popular speed game. It's very impressive.
He's so driven
to be able to
perfect that PB as well.
Yeah, to be able to do that and also be very, very good at the rest of SPRASH and beyond is very impressive. My brain does not have the capacity.
You can do Harry Potter. You can do Colin. Loves a Colin. Blunt having a little bit of trouble with Lofty Castle here because he's gone down to Green Sparks. So having to wait on those firework chests, for example.
Speaking of the cannon, let's see how it goes for Hypnoshark. And no problems there.
Yep, no problem at all. So yeah, that left, is it the left one where it usually glitches out?
It can be either. I actually had never seen this until recently, but John Unfill had a save state where he got it on both of them.
Yeah, I've also never seen that before. Alright, so it still feels like Chris and Deo, as well as Saboom and Adam, are really pretty tight.
It's hard. It's so hard to know with the different routes in Dreamweavers. I'm not sure if Saboom or Adam hit the wall glide route, but Deo did, and well, Deo's going into Jock now, so I think. Okay, so Jock. Okay, so Deo. Yeah, so Deo is about even with Chris, I believe. Or Deo's touching down at 109.54. Okay, or I guess Deo is about 10 to 12 seconds ahead of Chris, is what I'm seeing, I believe.
Yeah, Deo might be maybe another 10 seconds ahead of Adam. But let's get a time on their way out of Jack. Saboom's in Jack as well. So we'll try and get a time check, because we haven't been able to give you a real...
Yeah, let's get some Nasties World splits. So let's...
Yeah. Of course, those are the final 4 levels of the game, so that is really down to the vinegar strokes, as Kieran used to hate when I called it. The British phrase. You know what that means? I hope not.
I do know what that means. Should I explain right now
No,
what it means?
Don't. Just leave
okay.
it.
Okay. 'Cause I will.
No, just let's...
I mean, this is the last game that I'm commentating, so like I'm not invited back either way. You know, I can pretty much do what I want.
I mean, that's not how it works. You want to get invited back next year. And this has been great, so hopefully you will be back next year.
I mean, I heard we're getting paid for commentating. That's what I heard. So you know, I guess like I better be on my best behavior.
You might have heard that you were getting paid. I haven't heard anything about that.
Oh, awkward.
Yeah, I used to get paid to do this. Fun fact.
Oh, that's cool.
I
truly love
job, dude.
commentating. I do like
together.
it. Like we kind of have had some like friend events in the Spyro community where we've all met up and kind of done like little events around that, whether it's a charity event or like a Vortex tournament. We've kind of just like had, you know, people commentate when they want to, and
Right.
I really enjoyed it.
112.23 touching down in Nasty's world for
Please turn around.
112.23. Okay, well, hearing that, I think he's winning. I guess we haven't heard Adam's.
Well, Adam is
Could be good
well
on
past
lives.
112.23 and still in Jack. So
Oh, okay, so it seems like Adam had some trouble.
Yeah.
Reading the
Adam might be... He's definitely slightly behind where Deo is, and about 20 seconds behind on the timer already.
Yeah, it sounds like Saboom has a borderline, like it's about probably the same lead that I was debating calling it a commanding lead earlier, but I feel like at this late stage, it is a borderline commanding lead, and there may be
Did not hold square there.
best chance to come back would be Saboom possibly failing credit skip,
All right.
which is a very big trick at the end of the run.
Yeah, we haven't talked about
Saboom
credit
just
skip
ended
yet. We
Nar-
will talk about it, I think, when
Yeah.
we get to Nasty's World. We'll talk about that.
Mhm.
When we get to
That's not
Nasty's
the only way. Nasty's World is hard, especially North Cove. Especially North Cove can be very, like quite a bit of a varying level, even at high level.
112.55 landing on Nasty's World for Deo. For Chris and Adam, it was both in the 113s.
Okay.
So that seems like your top 4 at the moment, unless someone else can tell me that there's someone else in
Blunt,
chat.
I don't know if anyone else saw that, but Blunt just got so ridiculously unlucky. There's a very strange thing that can happen in this game where if you're right on the edge of a ledge, you can actually, and you try to walk forward off of it, you can actually get stuck and you just wiggle. And he kind of got stuck wiggling for a few seconds, which wouldn't be a big deal if he wasn't trying to make a timer of one of the fools at the exact time. So he had to basically wait for that fool to run out and then hit it again. So he basically just got wiggled for about like a, I don't know, probably like a 7-8 second time loss. That was pretty rough.
Cat Sparks has decided to join us on the desk for the last bit of the race here. I was mentioning this to you before, and I did mention this every opportunity last year. That oh god,
Oh,
there's some
audio
audio
issues?
issues going on, Derek. If you can take a look at that, that would be great. Yeah, Sparks said you should take a look at it.
Alright, let's watch Deo's screen here. Oh, he didn't get it! Deo did not get the chest explosion. That's also going to be a time loss. That is not helping him catch up at all. Did Chris get it? I'm not sure if Chris got it or not. I know Deo did not get it. We'll see if... So now basically Deo has to go all the way back here. Get that. Chris did get it. So you see how Chris could just turn around and continue there, whereas Deo had to hit the barrel.
Yeah. We see a 115 into Nasty's World for Blunt. Not to be sniffed at all. It's still a
Nope.
very solid time.
Yes.
And as we saw, he's had some very unlucky moments in this race.
Yeah.
But you may be still in with the shot of top 5. That's $7.50 for 5th place. Hey, it's more
Big
than
money
we're
there,
getting paid.
baby.
More than we were getting paid. So
Pay for your, yeah. Is it? I mean, more than maybe than you're getting paid.
God damn it! How is it that I'm the former professional and I'm the one not getting paid? I used to do
Look.
esports. I used to do pro wrestling.
Damn. That's
Yeah.
that's crazy. That's crazy. I think
I
I
used to-
think you should I think if you ask Hypno to get paid, you'll get paid.
I'm never asking to get paid.
Well, I'm asking to get paid. I need the lunch money. I need to
That's
eat.
fair. Should have entered the race.
That would not have gotten me paid.
I mean, you made me promise not to ask you what your 120% PB is, so we'll just leave that there.
Yeah. Let's just say I like to run any percent in Vortex and in pretty much every category extension and everything in this game that is not 120 and leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, let's not do you down. Second on the leaderboard at cheap percent, 4th in Vortex, 1st in 80 Dragons. Second in
Are you doing your research right now? Okay.
I did my research before.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, I
Is
know
that
I'm
all that
commentating with one of the
memorized?
best.
You got your little commentator sheet there.
Yeah. Well, much like Dale can't do Vortex, I think you're like the inverse Dale, but it's 120%.
Yeah.
You're good at everything that isn't
I'll take that.
120.
I'll take that. Okay, so yeah, it sounds like Saboom is a solid like 40 seconds ahead of Deo, and Deo and Chris are very tight. Deo and Chris are about 4 or 5 seconds between
Yeah,
each other.
it's that dragon at pretty much the same time on our screens. And I would say on screen, Adam is pretty close with those two as well. Adam just took the most insane hit from a grenade that was nowhere near him. Again, the enemies in Twilight Harbor can be a real pain. Especially this final gauntlet to the Vortex that Saboom is running right now. And we'll see on stream in a little bit.
I would say at high level, Twilight Harbor is actually quite a bit easier of a level than North Cove, but when you're like I'd say like beginners to mid level, like it's tough.
The 118.02 out of Twilight Harbor for Saboom. Dale's just cleaning up these
I might have to
gems.
do a triple spin here. Yeah, yeah. It's a good thing you did because there was a gem there still.
It's not what you want.
Whoa. Oh, everything froze for a second. Probably Discord. Oh, Andy missed a gold up there, but still, you know, yeah, that's not the worst. That's not the worst thing that can happen on that supercharge by far. So.
All right, I mean, I hate to be the bearer of anticlimactic news, but Saboom is challenging Nasty Nork.
All right, yeah, let's. I'm gonna maybe pull up Saboom here, and let's commentate even if they can't see it, because credit skip is maybe going to be the last chance for for.
So tell us about
guys to come
credit
back.
skip, Ash. What is credit skip? How do we do it? And
So
what is poverty credit skip? Because we're going to see
Okay.
Hypnoshark do that.
Okay. Yep. So actual credit skip, I believe saves probably like 30-ish plus seconds compared to poverty credit skip. Actual credit skip, you do a proxy off of Nasty, fly all the way around out of bounds, flame Nasty from behind, and as Nasty is dying, you fly into the lava and die at the same time, which basically skips the credits completely. You can just exit out of the level, but Nasty, you collected all the gems, and Nasty is defeated. And we'll see Saboom going for it right as I'm speaking. Let's see, gets the proxy. Flying around, looking good. And he's got it. He's
Yep,
got
that's
it.
credit
That
skip.
could be Saboom maybe sealing the win right there. And it's game over credit skip. I didn't even mention that. If you game over, it's actually even faster because you don't have to exit the level. It actually just puts you into the home world.
Wow, that's so good.
Yes.
And that's
Whereas
so well
poverty
managed
credit
as
skip,
well.
poverty credit skip is you just flame Nasty like you normally would, but if you open and close your disc tray at a certain time during the credits, but you do have to watch some of the credits. You do have to like get into kind of like, you know, 30-ish seconds of the credits, and then open and close your disc tray at the right time. It will skip the rest.
Right, Saboom entering loot, and as Laura points out, loot plane, again, another, probably one of the last, very last
I just don't know. I
opportunities.
don't think that's going to be enough. I think even missing loot plane is only 20-ish seconds, and Saboom has a 45-second lead. At least. You know, we can try to farm up some maybe possibly fake, like what if this happens, but I think barring a complete disaster.
But Dale and Chris both doing credit skip on screen at the same time. Dale
very cool.
looks like he's nailed it.
Oh no, he missed. He barely missed. Let's see about Chris.
No, and
That was
as
so
well.
close. He looks like he's in disbelief. Chris.
He has
got
to
it.
do the whole. He has to run the whole level again.
Yes, you have to go through the whole level, and that is also why game overing is risky, because if you miss it, then you have to also re-enter at that point, so it costs you more time to lose it.
Yeah, Chris did get it, so again, Chris is gonna really overtake Dale here.
Yeah, this shows just how much credit skip is very important, and as we were speaking there, Saboom did not mess around with early playing at all. Gets it with ease. He's gonna pretty much coast into victory here. There's not really anything that could happen at this point.
Yeah, that's I feel so bad for Dale having to do the whole level again.
Yep,
That's
credit skip
absolutely
is
nightmare.
rough. Credit skip is very rough.
Yeah, Blunt is also fighting Nasty, so Blunt and Dale are pretty
Yeah,
much the
so
same spot on the screen.
Yeah, so if Deo missed credit skip, or I guess Blunt's even really not that far behind, but he would have to. I would say at this point Deo would need to probably miss credit skip again for Blunt to pass him, but otherwise Deo's looking like probably third place, which I would say is probably going to be a bit of a disappointment to him for sure.
Yeah, definitely. When we said going in, Dale was the favorite, but it just shows Saboom, the old pro, at about 122.54. Not a shabby time at all.
No, that's a great time. A 122 in a race is great. That's a great performance, and definitely like probably around where we expected the winner to be, right in that like 123 flat range.
Yeah,
At
I
least,
mean,
that's what I was guessing.
That 122.54 about where Saboom was, that is better than all but 3 times on the leaderboard. So that's a very impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive time for Saboom to hit in a race.
Yep. And Blunt does hit CS:GO there, as we call it as well, credit skip game over, and so he's coming in with a very solid time as well. I think he's only 50-ish seconds behind his PB, which I think you got to take that.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna watch the race time as we'll see people finish. But yeah, it's a 123.18 on the race time, but I do think it was a sub 123. I think it was a 22. Chris is the second one to finish. He's just going through this final room.
I love this room so much, both casually and speedrunning. It just feels like a nice culmination of your efforts to pick up all those pink gems at once.
All right, Chris is gonna hit the vortex at 1:24:06.
Great run, great run.
Great run. So Chris is gets second place. He is gonna take home $75. Not to be sniffed at.
Oh.
Not to be sniffed at all.
He looks happy, so.
And
he would-
Adam
he would
is
be
in
happy with
loot.
that
He's
result.
finishing up too. So's Blunt. So we're gonna see who is gonna be coming next. As Hypnoshark's just finishing up Twilight Harbor. He's going to be heading on to Nasty Nork pretty soon. He will, of course, do poverty credit skip. Hasn't learned actual credit skip yet, though has been...
Or you see Blunt doing a different version of early playing here compared to the other ones. Shout out Composer for discovering that one, because I find it quite a bit easier. So if you do struggle with, if you maybe haven't seen that one, try that way. You know, big fan
He's
of
going to
the,
be
big fan of
Adam
that
coming
method.
in third place. It's a 1:25:45 on the race time. That's $35.70 for his trouble.
Oh, did Adam finish ahead of Deo?
Yep, Adam has finished.
Interesting. That was not on my radar. I should have been aware of that.
We don't know what's going on with Dale because he's commercial break in progress.
Yeah, we got commercial break right at the end. I don't think we did the whole time until right at the end, unfortunately.
Finished about 15-20 seconds behind Adam, and then Blunt is going to be bringing up fifth. So that is going to be your money places. Blunt is going to be able to get fifth, which is pretty good for him. 125, sub 126.
Yeah, wow. Sub
screen.
126 being required for the money is a very impressive showing for all runners involved, for sure. That's a very, 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 very good time.
So $15 for Dale, $7.50 for Blunt Blows. That is your top 5, your money places, and of course getting the top points going into the SPRASH League. This is only season 1, so we don't have any narrative around the points or how people are doing at this point. But remember, the top 4 go through to the SPRASH Vector, and they will be playing for the biggest prize pool of the whole tournament over that SPRASH Vector. It'll be a huge race coming up in December. I'm very excited for it. It was a lot of fun last time. We saw Nitroff take the whole thing, but Nitroff potentially, I mean, I don't know if he's going to enter other races, hasn't entered Spyro 1, so maybe he's not coming back to defend.
It's interesting too, because most of these top runners at Spyro 1 are not people that are good at every game. So despite us seeing like Hypnoshark still running here as everyone else is finished, I think he's still a better contender than everyone else on screen, because while Deo is solid at Spyro 2 and 3, he doesn't run Crash. Well, Blunt Bows is a very, very good at Spyro 2 and 3, even better than this game. Despite being 7th place in this game, he doesn't run Crash. This is pretty much probably the only game that Chris is going to participate in, I would imagine.
Shout out Schmoke for finishing in 6th place as well. That's our next finisher. I'm just looking at the race chat.
Who was 6th? Smokey Bro?
Schmoke, yeah, Schmoke finished.
Smoke. That's probably Smokey Bro. Yeah, GG.
Yeah.
127 for Smokey Bro is a very good time for him. I believe his PB is a 126 or 127 there, so very close to that.
Well, look at the race time chat, and people may be wondering why Saboom, as one of the top runners, wasn't on the stream. Obviously, we saw it at the broadcast well in advance. And in the race time chat, Chris said to Saboom, "Glad I told you about it last minute."
Yeah, Saboom had not signed up until last night, so it wasn't planned for him to be on stream. And I don't know what the state of Saboom's current capture quality is, but that might have not been the best either.
It was actually fine.
Sure.
It
was fine today. Nice.
Yeah, had full captured gameplay. It was great.
Oh,
but yeah,
baby.
It's peak Saboom that I don't know that Saboom knew this race was happening 24 hours ago.
Yeah.
And he's just turned up and blown everyone away by like a full minute.
Noi has just finished in 7th place, which I said earlier. I'm glad that you mentioned Noi. I think I started to say it but didn't quite finish my thought, because I think Noi is generally like maybe the most underrated SPRASH Vector runner that exists. Like, he is very good at all 6 games, and I think of the people that have finished, I think he will far and away finish with the most points of the people who have finished by far. Not even close. Because everyone
Yeah,
else
Neuer
that's finished
was a real contender.
is a
last year.
Spyro 1 or Spyro only specialist.
Yep, Piggy Bank finishing 8th. Well done to you. Sub 130. Very nice indeed. Yeah, you mentioned Neuer. Neuer was one who competed in all the races last year. And yeah, those guys were finishing because there were the points go all the way down for these races, right? The number of points you get depends on the number of people who sign up. So if you've got that long vision ahead that you think you can compete in all 6 games, even just finishing top 10 in a race that you're maybe not as comfy with is a big win in terms of points. Oh, unfortunately, it looks like Player Game SK has got a crash.
Oh
That's
no!
a real
Did he
sucker.
get?
He says he's going to
Did
run
he
it
get
back.
crashed in
Good for him.
in
Spyrunner coming in at
Lofty?
9th.
Did you get the Lofty crash?
Yes, got the Lofty
Oh,
crash. I don't know if you know Spyrunner.
I do know Spyrunner. Has he? I was literally, as you said, do you know Spyroner? Because I had looked at the like sheet of the people who hadn't finished yet. I had just opened to see where he was because I was like, Spyroner's got to be finishing soon.
So Hypnoshark trying for the plane. Piggy Bank is in the missed credit skip gang. Piggy Bank and Dale.
Yeah.
At least you're not alone. Adam did poverty credit skip, but lost a minute to it.
Okay.
Apparently, so Adam could have been quite close to Chris.
Yeah.
If he didn't have some credit skip issues as well. All right, we'll see Hypnoshark finish up.
Maybe claiming 10th place. We'll see.
Yeah, he does claim 10th place
does.
according to the race time. We'll see it on the stream.
Yep.
He's very, very close to the end. 10th place, a very respectable showing for the 44th placed speedrunner in this category. Obviously, not all the 43 ahead of him are running, but you know, he's got
the people that are left. I'm sure we'll see ZL finishing soon. For one, definitely. But yeah, we'll see who kind of starts to trickle in here as the top 10 has already been rounded out.
Shout out
With
Iron
times
Spider.
that are all better than my PB, even though I'm just gonna not mention that again.
Shout out Iron Spider, who again is one of the people just playing this for fun. Iron Spider, I think it was Spyro 2 last year. Went to work mid-run because you had to go to work.
And like came back and finished it.
Yeah, came back and finished.
I love that.
Smart walk.
That's great.
All right. I am back. Congratulations to all the runners and the commentators. Thank you guys so much for making this event possible. How was commentating? Was it fun?
Yeah,
I had a blast with commentating with you, Ash. I think that was great. I'd love to do that again. Yeah. Derek, I see the sign-up seat for Crash 1, which is next week's race, is being posted in chat as we speak. So how can people sign up for that?
Absolutely. That's what I came in to explain. So we are posting a link. It is a Google form. It's going to be the same form as Spyro 1, but just for Crash 1. Sign up there if you want to participate. It's going to be Crash 1 100%, not the most friendliest category for new beginners, but if you are experienced, you should absolutely sign up. And even if you want to take a wing at it, not a bad chance. Just beware. And outside of that, yes, reminder that I will be going through some of the times on race time to make sure that they're placed right. But since on race time itself, everyone is kind of like 20 seconds, if not more, split between each other, there is a good chance that these will be the results. So let me just read them out real quick. In first place, we have Saboom with a 123.18. Major congratulations to Saboom. Second place, we have Chris LBC with a 12431. Major shoutouts to Chris. In third place, we have Adam the Dragon with a 125.45. GG to him. Deo Man, fourth place, 126.09. And then Bluntbow securing the top 5, the 5 paid slots with a 126.21. And then in 6th, we got Smokey Bro, 12741. 7th place, we have Noi, 12916. We have Piggy Bank in 8th with a 12946. Spyro Runner in the 130s, 13040. Even in 10th place, Hypnoshark barely squeezing through the top 10 with a 13149. Major congratulations to everyone else.